This is why some guys get far better libido with higher peaks and lower troughs on TRT. Look, one of the biggest myths in TRT is that the more stable your hormones are, the better you're going to feel and function. And actually, neither of those are true. You can be on a pretty unstable in terms of peak and trough protocol and feel amazing, even better than on steady state, have no side effects, but have way better libido and way better erections. And there is a way to do it. One thing that has stood out to me over the years, this isn't the first time I'm saying this, is that the guys with killer libido on the forums are injecting a lot at a time, letting their testosterone work, giving it a break, having high peaks, and then lower end troughs. Their hormone kinetics go like this, not like this. And guess what? Even though it's considered prehistoric and you're warned against doing infrequent injections, and this is what we used to do, and now we've evolved into doing daily injections to match diurnal rhythm, truth of the people injecting, getting high peaks and lower troughs and having great libido does not lie. Let's break this down. All right, look, before we start the video, Cortex Labs, which is my company, is a TRT guidance, coaching, consulting, and products company. The major thing that I want you guys to know is that coaching is back, and it is 50% off right now. Okay, that's 3-month coaching, that's 6-month coaching. Listen, if you need to get your libido and erection straight on TRT, this is all I do. You will work with me one-on-one for 3 or 6 months to achieve a forever protocol that brings back the sexual function. You can hire me under a minute, livecortex.com. Use the coupon code 50 now. You save thousands of dollars on the 3-month program or the 6-month coaching program. Source list, anything you can think of that you might need to dial in if you want to go at it alone. Okay, get it down below in the description. Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT, a digital playbook that shows you how to dial in on any ester down below. Mastering Testosterone Cream, showing you how to dial in specifically sexual function on Test Cream. This is a video course down below. And then Mastering Testosterone Cypionate, another video course showing you how to dial in on that ester for sexual function, also down in the description. Look, guys, you're going to find no shortage of these posts. Libido almost too strong. Okay, seems like a silly thing to complain about, but is anyone else experiencing a very intense, strong libido on their current regimen? 5 months in, feel profoundly good. Energy, mood, body composition all change for the better. Libido, on the other hand, has also gotten a lot better, almost too much. It's almost as if I cannot satisfy my urges enough. It's not even 2 p.m. yet. I already had to rub one out 3 times today. God, what this guy's on, he's on 200 milligrams a week. He's not doing daily injections. He's putting a milliliter of cypionate in his glute or delt and letting it go. Here's another one, and this just shows like massive peak and trough because we're going to get to the ester. It's not cypionate. It's something longer. How do you deal with high libido during working hours? Okay, there are days where seeing an attractive coworker is going to throw me off completely, especially on slow work days. Can't focus. Thinking about sex. Feel like a teenager. Guess what this guy's taking? Libido. Right? That's an extremely long ester. He goes, it's one shot every 10 to 14 weeks. Many don't like it because you can get fluctuating testosterone levels with peaks after the injection and valleys before the next dose, but I feel pretty good with it so far. This is a guy asking, how do you deal with high libido? Men on TRT would pay for this. They do. Here's another one. 250 milligrams a week. Not saying you necessarily have to dose 250, but 250 in one injection and waiting 7 days is likely to give you insanely high sex drive. Again, what to do? These guys act like this is a problem. All right, let's break this down. Listen, one of the biggest myths in TRT, as I described in the beginning of the video, is that the more stable your testosterone levels are going to be, the more functional and good you're going to feel. But for a large subset of the TRT population, stability often appears to come at a cost. These guys, their labs look pretty perfect. They get super stable on 140 a week with a little bit of HCG. Guess where estrogen is? 30. Guess where total testosterone is? 900, 1,000. Looks incredible. Test is stable. Estrogen stable. Hematocrit is stable. No side effects. Yet, libido has disappeared from their body. And their erection quality sucks. And a lot of those guys often describe feeling emotionally flat, right? There's no dopamine peaks. There's really nothing going on. It's, in other words, lukewarm. So here's the bottom line and one of the reasons that this happens. Number one, the human body was never designed for flat testosterone. Do not care how many seemingly reputable YouTubers tell you that we're mimicking diurnal rhythm and that the same testosterone levels like all day long are good. They are typically not. The first thing to understand is that testosterone production in natural men is not stable. We don't naturally produce a milligram every hour or 24 milligrams every day and have perfectly flat androgen exposure. Actually, testosterone pulses because luteinizing hormone from the pituitary pulses. Androgen receptor stimulation fluctuates. You're not constantly bombarding the ARs with testosterone. It fluctuates. And throughout life, this is the important part, the male endocrine system is accustomed to variation. The mistake people make is, we start administering exogenous testosterone and we often think, let's eliminate all the variation. The assumption is less fluctuation equals better results. But sexual function is not that simple. What I have learned in now 7.3 years of TRT coaching is that sexual function appears to respond to hormonal momentum, and the brain and the sex organs don't really care about hormone concentration as much. And if you think about puberty, like a guy going on a steroid cycle, or the honeymoon phase of TRT, what do all of these have in common? Rising androgen levels, not stable androgen levels. The nervous system is highly responsive to large increases in androgen signaling. Look, when you inject a larger amount less frequently, testosterone rises significantly over the next 24 to 72 hours after injection. In that context, guys report stronger libido, more sexual thoughts, increased confidence, spontaneous erections, increased penile sensitivity. And as levels slowly decline, some of those effects may diminish to some extent, but a lot of them stick around, and then another injection recreates the rise. That cycle creates recurring stimulation rather than a completely flat hormonal environment. Let's talk about androgen receptor activation. Listen, higher peaks create more androgen receptor activation. What people need to get is that testosterone's action in your body is not binary. The higher the concentration, the greater the androgen receptor occupancy and downstream genetic signaling. When you inject 120 milligrams once weekly, or 150 milligrams every fifth day, or 200 milligrams once weekly, or even 70 milligrams every fourth day, peak levels can become substantially higher than if you're daily microdosing. And for a lot of guys, those higher transient concentrations appear necessary to fully activate libido, erections, dopaminergic pathways, and androgen responsive tissues. And the trick is, those individuals don't need those levels consistently. They need periodic exposure to higher concentrations to maintain sexual function. Let's talk about why flat levels can feel weak, especially regarding libido. Look, guys on daily injections, they, if it's a reasonable enough dose, they don't say that they feel low testosterone. Their energy is up, their anabolism is pretty good, and they feel generally fine. But they don't feel particularly androgenic either. Androgenicity is what you're trying to achieve. The common description is, I feel normal. The problem is, I really don't have any drive. I don't have libido. I don't have the dopamine drive. When testosterone is held within a narrow range in your physiology continuously, it is likely that your body is adapting to that signal. So the nervous system becomes accustomed to it. Androgen receptors become accustomed to it. Nothing changes. Nothing fluctuates. Nothing creates a strong biological stimulus. If there's no stimulus, there's no libido. All right, let's talk about testosterone to estradiol. That relationship changes dramatically across the week if you peak higher and trough lower. Look, after a large injection of TRT, testosterone often rises extremely quickly and peaks very high. Estradiol rises a lot more gradually, right? It doesn't peak like testosterone peaks. What this creates is a period in which the androgenic signaling is dominating. This is what you want. SHBG, okay? This might be one of the most important pieces. People think of SHBG like as an enemy because I think folks are like, oh, if I've got 55 plus or high SHBG, then I have less free testosterone. It's not that simple. SHBG also acts as a transport protein. It carries your sex hormones through circulation and then helps regulate the tissue delivery of those androgens. And here's the truth about SHBG. If you're constantly overlapping testosterone, you're going to lower the SHBG to a state where testosterone is cleared more rapidly. And this is where you get the collapse of your libido. Whereas if you have a nice peak and trough, i.e. less frequent injections, that typically allows SHBG to remain somewhat higher, which would improve hormone transport and improve tissue distribution of sex hormones. Then there's DHT. Let's talk about DHT. DHT peaks may matter in the context of TRT a lot more than people realize. If you're doing daily injections or every other day injections, your DHT is really not peaking all that much. We know that DHT is heavily involved in libido, very directly involved in erectile quality and genital tissue function. There's 5-alpha reductase enzymes everywhere in the male genitalia. A lot of guys notice that their sexual function is the strongest when DHT is peaking. You can only achieve a peak in DHT by doing infrequent injections where you peak high and then you trough back down. Talk about dopamine. Libido is a fundamentally brain-based phenomenon, and dopamine is the primary neurotransmitter that drives that. Regarding dopamine, as I've learned in my nootropics tenure, which is 15 years of dosing brain-modulating, neurotransmitter-modulating chemicals, brain often responds a lot more strongly to change than to consistency. This is the major point I want to hammer home. And this principle is actually seen throughout neurobiology. Guys would find a stack that gave them insane brain function, and then they would try to continue taking that stack, and eventually what would happen? That peak in brain function would decline back to stable levels. They'd reach a homeostasis, and the peak is no longer there. They basically feel normal again. That's why we had to introduce nootropic stacks that were implemented in a cyclical manner. A rising testosterone environment infrequently with higher peaks creates a stronger dopaminergic profile than a completely static hormone environment. And dopamine, make no mistake, is driving your libido or not driving it. Real question you should ask yourself, aside from what seems logically sound, what seems popular on Reddit and the web, is not what creates the most stable hormone environment. You shouldn't ask that question. The real question is what creates the best combination of libido, erections, energy, mood, and overall well-being. What does that? And for a surprising number of men, allowing testosterone to peak higher and trough lower every 4 to 7 days restores the level of sexual function they thought was gone forever. And now they're dialed in on TRT. Look, whether it's prop, whether it's cream, whether it's cypionate, whether it's enanthate, if you're having trouble dialing in, hire me for coaching. Right now, it's 50% off, and we run those once a year. The last one was August, 10 months ago. If you use the coupon code 50 now at checkout, both the 3-month program and the 6-month program, so you're working directly with me one-on-one, full protocol engineering specifically to dial in the sexual function, anabolism, well-being, cycles if we need to, whatever it is that you want to do, getting the true optimal experience from TRT, jettisoning a lot of the nonsense on there and doing strictly what works, saving thousands of dollars right now. Coupon code is 50 now. Go book me, livecortex.com. You and I are on the fact-finding call as soon as the next day. And brother, you're with me now. There's no waiting period, no deep analysis that takes 3 weeks. We start getting your libido and sexual function back immediately. Book me in under a minute, livecortex.com. This is going away and will not last forever. It is 50% off, codes on the screen. Look, if you want to go at this alone, totally fine. And you need ancillary compounds, just get Sourceless. That's what it's for. It's vetted. That list is down in the description of this video. Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT, a digital downloadable sexual function playbook. Also down below, courses on test cream for sexual function and video courses on test cypionate for sexual function. Highly purchased, highly effective, highly protocol written. These can also be found in the description of this video. Go get them. All right, my brother in test. Hope this has been an absolutely fucking powerfully educating video that helps you in your TRT journey. Please like the video if it is. Honestly, it matters to me. It matters to the channel. I need you to like the video if you're still here. Otherwise, sub to the channel. If anything I said resonated with you, man, much more content to come and so much content in the past. You're going to love being part of this community. I want you on board. Sub to the channel. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with a video that ties this all together. I'm going to put it right here, and it will make the picture clearer on peaking and troughing to get your libido back. Please go watch this video. Kick ass, rock on, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you in the next one, bro.